Hello, morning in Nigeria, and those not in Nigeria, I say good afternoon and good evening to you all. I'm Victor Oyinloluwa Ajamu, the flyer from the Federal University of Agriculture, FUNAB, and I welcome you to this of Aspire program. I've heard about Aspire program, and some don't know about Aspire program. Well, Aspire program by Farmalat is designed to encourage young veterinarians to talk about issues, rising issues. Also, it's a mentorship program that inspires young veterinarians as to their career path. Is our expert, which I'm going to, and the topic we'll be discussing on is the of veterinarians in the quarantine sector, as animal regulation, along with the benefits and the challenges. You know, veterinarians in the quarantine sector is very, very significant, and we need them to play all roles that ensure animal welfare. Then I'm going to use top expert and person, Jim. I'll be reading his citation. Dr. Jim, the deputy of quarantine, graduated with a DVM in Ivanovo State University of Agriculture in Russia in 2010. Later earned MSc from the People's Friendship University known as Active, which was tasked with the director with organizing university events. He also served as the vice president of the Nigerian Students Association at one point. As a committed and enthusiastic veterinary doctor, he has a solid foundation in the core principles and theories of his profession, complemented by practical experience gained through various trainings and research opportunities. He has developed specific interest in genetic characterization, veterinary sanitary, expertise, hygiene, and biosecurity. Furthermore, he has been involved in several committees responsible for catering various contingency plans in Nigeria, including but not limited to the National Strategy for Controlling Foot and Mouth Disease in Nigeria, the National Strategy for Controlling CBPP in Nigeria, that's just bovine pleuropneumonia, the National Strategy for Controlling African Swine Fever in Nigeria, the National Strategy Development Document for Controlling Animal Trypanosomiasis and TB in Nigeria. Also, the National Contingency Plan for the Idiroko land border in Ogun State, and an online training course on foot and mouth disease investigations for West Central and North Africa, organized by the EMD. Help me welcome.
Good morning. Am I up?
How are you doing, sir?
Fine, thank you.
I would love to hear your presentation. We're excited to have you here, sir.
Thank you very much. Victor, am I audible?
Sir, I can hear you clearly, sir.
Thank you. Well, to begin with, I'd like to appreciate the Farmalat for the program, the management, and Dr. Victor for the coordination. I remember last time, I think sometimes last year, Victor led some students to my office. So we've met and then we've worked together at some point. He's a very active young vet, very, he's full of enthusiasm. I like that. Now, I like to point out one or two things if I comment as an advisement. It's an advisement. When I was in school, like you mentioned earlier, I was among the a group of people, a group of students called the Active, the only African among them, and we were tasked with the by the rector of the school to facilitate programs, events all over. Now, that's what we call rehearsal, right? 3 days to the event, we will invite everybody involved in that event. All the presenters will be invited. Then we will do what we call a rehearsal. So we go one after the other, who is coming next, who is coming afterwards, just to be better prepared for the event so that we don't have delays. I'm saying this because of this present, we had delays today. You should have tested your audience, tested your microphone and your equipment an hour before the event so that you don't have this kind of delays. But that's by the way. However, do you know that 2 billion years before human beings arrive on Earth, microbes were here first? And they have learned every trick of survival. As a matter of fact, they use us as their host for survival. Now, looking at the way human beings operate, living things that concern um, outbreaks, disease outbreaks, and infections to the last minute, it is likely that 2 billion years after we have departed, they will still be here. Now, before I commence, why am I qualified to speak on this topic? I am a vet. Okay. Okay. Go on. Go on. Can I go on? I can't hear you. I can't hear you. I can't hear you, please.
Like it's not clear enough, sir.
Okay, my voice is low.
Coverage, sir.
The voice is low.
Video, sir.
It's not clear.
Video, sir. Not really
Come
clear.
again. The video is not clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Should I use my phone instead? I'm using laptop. Can you hear me? Can I switch the device to my phone? All right, hold on, just a second, please.
This is much better, sir.
Okay, just a
Thank you
second.
very much, sir.
Is it okay now? Am I audible?
You can go on, sir.
Okay, hold on.
Are you good over there, sir?
Yeah, I'm always good. It's not connecting from my AirPod. But if you can hear me, I can continue without the pod. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
All right then. All right. So as I was saying, um, I am a quarantine officer, and as in I work with the Nigeria Agricultural Quarantine Service. I'm a vet. I have worked with when I joined the service, I worked in the Jiroko land border for about 7 years. Afterwards, I was posted to Calabar. Then other postings came up. So what I'll be saying will be based on practical experiences because I'm a field officer and I've passed through these experiences before. For the purpose of this presentation, I would like us to see this as a dialogue, a conversation, as the case may be, because we are all learning. You keep learning until you die. It's when you die that you stop learning. So I speak. If you have a question, you ask, and then we continue from there. So, like the topic implies, the impact of veterinarians in the quarantine sector, assessing animal welfare regulations, along with the benefits and challenges. As humans, let's go to the slide 2. Slide 2, you have the food for thought. Now, like I already said earlier, microbes were on Earth 2 billion years before human beings arrived. And as humans, living things till the last moment, and then when it becomes worst, we start to run helter-skelter. It's not stupidity, it's just human nature. So this is my food of thought. So we move on to the third slide that says, who is a veterinarian? Who is a veterinarian? People might have different definitions of who a veterinarian is. Mine, contrary to popular belief, the roles of a vet goes beyond the conventional clinical practice, such as to examine an animal, disease diagnosis, prescribing medications, etc. But as the world becomes intricately interconnected and more complex, so are the various obligations and responsibilities that veterinarians undertake, including national security. Now, if you look very carefully today in our country, if you go to the police force, for example, if you go to the army, take me, for example, in the quarantine uh, department, we don't just prescribe drugs or examine animals, but we're involved in the national security. In quarantine, for example, our primary aim is to prevent the entry or the exit of diseases of animals, of plant origin and aquatic from coming to the country and going out. And also we facilitate international trade. So you can see, following this alone tells you that we don't just do the conventional. Now vets are more involved in other things than just the clinical practices. On the slide 4 and 5, I will be differentiating the difference between the word quarantine and the responsibilities of the Nigeria Agricultural Quarantine Service. Now, the word quarantine is a place where people or animals, in this case, are placed to see if they got sick, knowing that they were exposed. If they were exposed to a disease or a virus, they put them in a particular place to see, to observe them if they go sick. Just like the picture is illustrating, you can see the different rooms. So in this case, animals don't get to interact with each other. So you minimize disease control, and then also you can observe if anyone is showing the symptoms. Then we move on to slide 5. Slide 5, I will be explaining the responsibilities of the Nigeria Agricultural Quarantine Service. We are more of the nation's agricultural quarantine authority, the single point of defense. We work alongside with other agencies. We're located at international land borders, international airports, international seaports, and also at intercontrol posts. Now, what do we do there? We inspect. All right. Oh, madam's calling. Yeah, okay. Thank you. We inspect, we standardize, and we certify all agricultural commodities that goes out of the country and come into the country. So for the purpose of this presentation, if, for example, an animal was brought in from a different country and the animal is not feeling well, we put it in a place, in a particular holding. Then we examine the animal, and then we quarantine the animal pending when we agree that the animal is not danger to others, so we can let the animal in. That is our responsibilities. Then going to slide 6, I will be discussing the zonal commands, because since we're talking about, since I'm from the quarantine sector, from the quarantine department or agency, I would like just to know more about the Nigeria Agricultural Quarantine Service. So we have about more than 70 stations in the 6 local zones, of course. And then we have the our headquarters in Abuja and the FCT. We have the zonal command. The Southwest Zonal Command is in Ikeja right now. That's our headquarters. Then we have the South-South Zonal Command in Port Harcourt as the headquarters. We have the Southeast Zonal Command in Enugu as the headquarters. Then we have the North Central Zonal Command. Makurdi is the headquarters. We have the Northwest Zonal Command, Kano being the headquarters, and Northeast Zonal Command, Maiduguri is headquarters. Moving to slide 7, I would also like to let you know our core departments in NAQS. NAQS standing for Nigeria Agricultural Quarantine Service. We have the plants department. We have the veterinary or animal department. Now, in NAQS, we don't call it veterinary department because it was called the veterinary department, but later changed. Why? Because if you say veterinary department, it implies that only veterinarians can work there. But in NAQS, we have we have animal scientists, which are not vets. So we coin out the name veterinary, and then put animal quarantine instead. Animal quarantine department, so that it accommodates the animal health professionals too to work there. So then we have the aquatic department, then we have the laboratories department. Please, at any point, if you have any question, you can always indicate, and then we will discuss it before we move forward, please. Now, going to slide 8. The impact of veterinarians to the quarantine sector. Like is earlier mentioned, vets don't only participate in the clinical practices of veterinary medicine. Our job goes beyond the clinical. For example, there are infectious pathogens of humans that are of animal origin. Now, what does that mean? It means that about 875 of 1,461 infectious pathogens of humans rather, are of animal origin. And about 75% of the emerging diseases of human occurring in the past 3 decades are of animal origin. So veterinarians detecting these diseases is very, very important to human beings, because it means that we can warn the humans, we can bring that to the attention of the government to be more proactive in dealing with outbreaks. Even in the past, veterinarians have been involved in the control of pandemics and epidemics. Taking, for example, the Ebola in 2014, in accordance with the One Health approach. During the Ebola, I think that was when we came in as veterinarians to the practice, to NAQS. That's when we came in, and we as veterinarians that time we were tasked with sensitization. I remember that time in 2014, we went to there were posters were printed out, and then we took them out to different places to sensitize the public about Ebola virus. These are some of the responsibilities of veterinarians, apart from the conventional clinical practice. Now, veterinarians in the past have been involved in dealing with epidemics. Take, for example, during the COVID-19, I remembered in 2016, I was in Ijiroko, land border. There was an NGO called Pro Health International. They came to Ijiroko land border. They requested that we set up a contingency plan for emergency, just like the COVID-19. Now, we worked for about a year. I was part of that committee. I was part of the core planning team of that committee, and alongside with post health officers and other people. In that committee, after we finished working in the committee, we forgot to include government policy as a factor to contingency plans. So during the COVID-19, there was lockdown. So automatically, our contingency plan was incapacitated because we couldn't use it. Nobody was allowed to go out, to come in. However, at the time, VCN asked veterinarians to go and do fumigations in markets. These are roles that veterinarians play in pandemics and epidemics. Veterinarians conduct wildlife surveillance. We target hotspots for the high risk of hotspots to target to predict and prevent future pandemics. So these are some of the roles that veterinarians play according in the past events, and we're still playing them. I remember in NAQS some times ago, someone imported a consignment from South Africa, I think, through the airport, and then it was without documents. It was intercepted, and then we had to examine this consignment. After examination, we noticed that it was not fit for human consumption. We went to court, and then after the court gave an order for destruction, we had to take this consignment to go and destroy it. Why? Because we're preventing the public. We're preventing the imported consignment to be exposed to the public to avoid havoc. So veterinarians play very huge roles in public health management. I'll take it to slide 9. In accordance with the VCN regulation, it is the responsibility of a veterinarian to ease animal suffering through their professional skills. As we're talking about animal welfare now, assessing the regulations. Now, animal welfare regulations are assessed by measuring or observing the physical and behavioral characteristics of animals, as well as the quality of their environment. These measurements are called welfare indicators. Animals should be treated with considerations and respect. Their physical and emotional needs have to be met. As a vet, nobody tells you, you just know that animals are your friends. For example, for example, when I became a vet, subsequent to the passion I have for animals. When I was a kid, when I was a child, my dad owned. We had a garden. We had flowers. We had several animals. There were crocodiles. There were goats, porcupines, chickens, and my dad tasked me with the responsibility to take care of them. In the morning, I have to water the flowers. I have to feed all the animals. I have to go to the field to harvest grasses for the goats. I have to get feeds for the porcupines and the crocodiles and all the chickens. I didn't like it at first, but it became a norm. Every day I do it, every day I do it, every day I do it. I was in secondary school then. So at some point, there was a particular day I noticed that these goods they are stealing. So, and when I was and that time, whenever I'm stealing or I was stealing or I have the running stomach, they normally give what they call there's one red and yellow capsule, tetracycline, at the time. So they usually give it to me. So I assume that by giving this to the animals, it will heal them too. So whenever I notice that, I take it, put it in the water without knowing the quantity of the water, the measurement of the drug. I just put it in the water, maybe 2, 3, like that, and then give them to drink so that they will heal. And I begin to wonder what do I do to help these animals as a secondary school guy? So subsequent to this, I started having the love or the passion to heal animals. And then when I got to SS3, before writing JAMB, the brochure came out and I checked it. Initially, I wanted to be a medical doctor. That was my aspiration. But when I saw in the brochure that there is a course called veterinary medicine, and when you study it, you will be a doctor that heals animals. Wow. That was where I drew the line. I filled the form and then I put that course because I became passionate with the course. And then I wrote my JAMB. But unfortunately, I did not use the JAMB because the results were not out and I got a scholarship to study somewhere else. Now, when I came back from school, I got the liberty to interact with some of my colleagues. So I usually ask them, how do you become a vet? What triggered that passion? Most of them say they never actually wanted to be veterinarians. In fact, they didn't even know that veterinary medicine existed. But when they applied during their entrance into the university, that was the course that was available. So they just have to take it. Someone else said that he actually wanted to study engineering, but then someone dared him that I dare you can't study vet medicine. It's a very difficult course. You can't study it. So he took the challenge and then he became a vet. And then someone else, a mentor of mine, his own story was that in school that time, it was in the I think when it was in year 1 also, when it goes to a particular part of the school, there are these students that are always reading, always serious, always concentrating. So you will now ask somebody, who are those students? You tell them, don't talk to them. They are veterinarians. They are very, very serious. So that triggered his own passion to become a vet. My point is, people became veterinarians in with so many ways. However, the passion to heal animals, the passion to be there for animals, to ease animal pain, is a concept of a veterinarian. Now, coming back to our discussion, some of the welfare criteria of animal welfare will be: animals should have access to enough food and water. Animals should be comfortable when resting. Animals should have enough space to move around. Animals should be free from diseases and injuries. Animals should not be in pain due to management, handling, or procedure. These are some of the concepts of animal welfare that we have. Some you call it biological functioning, you call it emotional, or the ability to express normal behavior. However, it all ties down to this. So we should understand that as veterinarians, we are just not you're supposed to be there for animals to ensure that they are fine at all times. Now we go to slide 10. The benefits of animal welfare as it relates to quarantine sector. Now, what are the benefits? If you read the FVCN regulation, there are so much that veterinarians can do to add value to the animal welfare. So if an animal is well taken care of, the animal is supposed to be healthy. The animal, in taking care of animals, we also reduce the chances of disease transmission. We have the ethical treatment. As a veterinarian, it is your responsibility to promote empathy and compassion for animals. That's not even negotiable. It's the number one thing that you do. Then clean environments reduce the risk of transmission. Imagine having pigs or dogs in a confined environment where they don't have enough space to move around. I don't think that these animals will be happy. So you have to ensure that they have space to move around, they have good health, and we care for them. Can you hear me? Master Debo?
I can hear you, sir.
Okay, go on. Okay. So some of the challenges that we have in assessing the welfare of animals: inadequate facilities, lack of necessary equipment, and human funding. Now, automatically, if there is an inadequate facility, it is down to so much challenge. If there is lack of equipment, if there is lack of human resources and funding, it affects the value chain of the animal welfare automatically. And in the public sector, as the case may be, I might not want to discuss too deep about this because of, well, sort of maybe just needs to me and beyond my control. But if you don't have, if you have inadequate facility, it automatically affects the welfare of the animal. Animals suffer. Like, for example, the picture you shows that we have in confined area. Automatically, you can see that this guy is not feeling well. You can see that this guy didn't have case, this is inhuman. This is against the um, um, animal welfare and should be discouraged at all ramifications. Now, as a veterinarian, automatically treating animals and their injuries is the way of life for us veterinarians. Sometimes ago, we had a situation at the airport. Someone imported an animal, and then the animal was sick. So we needed to, what are the measures that need to be taken to facilitate the animal? So when the animal was imported, while we were waiting for the papers to be processed, because we have a regulation that the CVON issues the document, a permit for animal importation or exportation, but quarantine facilitates this, or we are the one that enforce this policy. So your document must tally with what the VCN issue. If not, then we don't allow the animal to come into the country. So someone brought these animals. The animal was sick. Now, what are the measures that will be taken? At the airport, we have a semi-clinic where we keep animals pending when they are released to the public or to the owner. And when the animal was brought, it was sick. We have to examine it. We have to take care of it. We have to cater for it until it's safe before we allow it to enter the country. In land borders, for example, we're supposed to have pen houses in land borders because more of large animals we used to be exported through land borders. Sometimes ago in a local land border, I remember there was a case of 10 horses going from Kaduna to Ghana for a polo club. And when they got to the border, we had to put them in a pen house, put them there, care for them, examine them, feed them, give them water to drink because of the journey they've already been through, and then prepare them for the journey ahead. So animal welfare is very important. Poor animal welfare should be discouraged on notifications. I'd like to conclude by saying that veterinarians are more involved in much more than treating animals and injuries in domestic animals. They play a significant role in contributory roles in both animals and humans, and the welfare as well as national security. When I was in school, there was this saying that we were taught by this lecturer. He took us hygiene. He said, medicine heals humans, but veterinary medicine heals humanity. So what he was saying, what he meant by that is that without veterinary medicine, without hygiene, medicine has no place. And veterinarians are more of the upper hand. Veterinarians are more of the guys that plays the role of hygiene. Veterinarians are more of the guys that we're supposed to be good at everything, supposed to blend in everywhere. We serve at national security level. We serve as veterinarians in various sectors. We serve as veterinarians even in managing the epidemics. So I like to conclude with this, and if there are any questions, any comments, any contradictions, any critics, please bring them up so we can discuss them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, Dr. Diga. Thanks so much for the presentation. I was really, wow, inspired, actually. And one thing I note is that you said medicine use human and veterinary medicine use humanity. Wow,
Yeah.
that was nice. And also, as regards the benefits, I actually learned a lot, especially when you talked about the issue of empathy in terms of animals. Thank you very much, sir. So if we have any question to our online audience, if you have any question, you can please drop it in the comment section and we'll just ask our expert to just do justice to that. And I have a few questions here, sir, for you. Okay, so the first is, how does quarantine contribute to biosecurity in animal sector, most especially now that we have all these outbreaks right now, sir?
Thank you very much for that question. As a matter of fact, I personally took interest in going for a research in veterinary and sanitary expertise,
Okay.
hygiene, food safety, and food security, biosecurity, as the case may be. Now, what do I want to do in that aspect? We, as staff of NQS, we do inspections. For example, you want to export, let's say, vegetables. You want to export, um, because we don't allow exportation of animal products such as meat are not allowed. So, and eggs, you have to seek permission for that. So you want to export animal, for example, and um, so we go for inspection. We inspect the facility to begin with. We do, but sometimes the civilian might permit one or two people, for reasons best known to him, to import maybe actually eggs uh, for their reasons best known to them. So we involve in inspect. We inspect. We go to the country of origin. We go there, and then we see what it has been done there. Then we see the impact of these eggs that you want to bring to the country. Then we take it for analysis before, and if it shows good results, then only then we can allow you to enter. Let me give an instance. An instance at the airport last year, February, I think February, someone imported grass for cultivation without permission. Now we confiscated it. I should have put that slide. I should have put that on the slide too. I forgot. We confiscated this grass, and then we took one of the cans to Ibadan. In Ibadan, we have our post-entry laboratory in Ibadan. Took it to Ibadan, and then we gave it to the plants experts there, pathologists, to cultivate these kinds, and then see what happens. So after the laboratory examination, it was discovered that about 97% of the gases were good for cultivation. So we let them in. Another example, sometimes last year or the year before last, 2023, the Minister of Agriculture, the CG of Quarantine, and other directors came from Abuja, and then we went to Apapa. I think they imported grains for cultivations. NAQS was giving samples to the lab to examine before we let them to the country. So after examination, we will now do what they call report, and then further report to the government, and then recommend for them what we do. So we participate, to answer the question, we participate in inspection, we participate in laboratory analysis before we allow in or out of the country. Thank you.
That's insightful, sir. Thank you very much, sir. And to our online audience, please, if you have any question, you can just make good use of the comment box and ask your question. Okay, sir. So this question, what are the challenges in maintaining consistent application of animal welfare regulations across different quarantine facilities?
Well,
What's your opinion, sir?
well, to my opinion, because I cannot, to my opinion, funding is a challenge. Funding is a challenge. Like I said earlier, don't forget,
Yes.
microbes were on Earth 2 billion years before we arrived. And it is likely that they will still be here 2 billion years after we are gone. You know why? You know why? Because we don't take this kind of
Why?
things very seriously. We take it as well. It's a warning. Yes, we've heard you, and then we neglect it. But when there's an outbreak, then we start to run helter skelter. It's not stupidity. It's human nature. It's human nature. Simple that. So funding is a big factor. Big factor. Sometimes you bring up a proposal for a particular, and they tell you we've had it, and then that's it. So without funding, you cannot function. So in my sector and every other sector, funding is a thing. Then taking it very, very seriously, engaging veterinarians, very, very important. Again, in my opinion, I don't want to extend, but in my opinion, I think the authorities of veterinary medicine in Nigeria need to do more to encourage young veterinarians. There should be programs. For example, you graduated and you don't have a job yet. What do you do? My opinion, though, this is my opinion. This is my opinion. All right, my opinion.
Okay, sir.
Yes, I'm not going to put this is my opinion. Basically, they have to do more than just what they do. When I came back from studies, I was told that since I didn't study in Nigeria, I had to pass the VCN exam to be registered as a vet. So, well, where I come from, we do more of practical. We practicalize everything. Once you start to study, one student, one computer, one microscope, whatever is needed, you have yours. You log in, your name is there, it's for you. Whenever you come in, it's for you. One student, one laptop, one microscope, one stethoscope, and all that, whatever is needed, only you, for you alone. So you practicalize every processes, not one equipment for, you know what I'm talking about, yeah? So funding is a thing. If you take things more seriously, you have the warnings, then you act. Engage veterinarians. But we are less engaged, we're discouraged. The young ones are discouraged. I was discouraged at some point. But because I had the passion from beginning that I must be a vet, when I went to get out of my NYSC, I had opportunities to work other places. The NMPC was there for me to work at the NMPC and other places. But I said, I want to work where I will practice, where I will be a career staff. So I chose
Passion.
vet. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Is medicine used human, while veterinary medicine?
Use humanity, yes. I should explain. I should explain. Want me to explain? Should I explain? I can't hear you. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Okay. So, medicine. You go to the hospital as a person. The doctor asks you, how are you feeling? You tell the doctor, I'm feeling nausea. I feel tiredness in my bone marrows. I have catarrh. I have cold. I have pyrexia, I have anorexia, blah, blah, blah. The doctor recommends, takes it to the lab, do analysis, and then the result comes out. And then it's malaria positive or typhoid positive, you take drugs and then you heal. But when it comes to veterinary medicine, animals don't talk, animals don't speak. You just have to know the symptoms. You have to know what's wrong with the animal by the symptoms.
Exactly.
When I was in service, when I was doing my NYSC, one of I was serving. I was deployed to the Federal Ministry of Health, Department of hold on, just a second. One of special duties, yes, special duties. At the time, they were charged with the vaccination of avian influenza. But when I came in, it was already gone. So I was less busy. So one of the directors calls me Doctor of Perewenko. You know, what it means is that we heal Perewenkos, we heal toys, we heal tortoise, we heal everything. We heal animals, we heal plants. Hence, vet medicine heals humanity encompassing.
Thank you very much, sir. Wow. Okay, from Dr. Zainab, great presentation. What are the future directions for improving the roles of veterinarians in animal welfare within the quarantine sector?
I love to tell you what I want, but I'm afraid it's not implemented. Yeah. Well, to begin with, we need more veterinarians in the sector. More veterinarians in the
Okay.
sector. These are all my opinions. All right, don't quote me anywhere, but I said it. My opinions, and I'm not saying that, but these are all my opinions. Like all what I have said are based on practical experiences. What I think can be done to improve veterinary profession. We need more vets to begin with. We need more programs. We need research programs. We need to engage veterinarians. We need to tax them with coming up with contingencies. We need them to be involved. It needs to be funded. That sector should be funded very well. They should be given the privilege to go out to as far as other countries to learn how they have done theirs, and then we come back home to implement. We need that.
Okay.
We need that. But all these are my opinions. Like I said, I love to do it, but it will not be implemented.
So you talked about more veterinarians, more programs, and we should engage veterinarians and also fundings too. Yes. Thank you very much, sir. Then, one of the questions I have here is, how do quarantine protocols differ between domestic and wild animals?
Well, when it comes to my sector, we are more concerned with the importation and the exportation of animals. So, take for example, you have a case of rabies in Zamfara, for example. As far as that case, it's not going to, we will not go cross boundary. I don't have any role to play there. But the Zamfara state government, of course, she didn't want to be engaged in that aspect. So we deal with more of international. Do you want to export it? Do you want to import it? Is my concern. But is it domestic? If it's domestic, then you should put it to the ones that domestic guys, states, for example. There should be a collaboration between those that work for the national and those that work for the sectors in the country, because you don't know at some point an infected animal might want to be imported, to be exported, for example. So if there's collaboration, we can stop this disease exportation. Then prevent it from being exported. So I think collaboration would be the key word there. Collaboration is very important. Then MOUs, memorandum of understandings between those that work for the international and those that work for the local. What do I mean by that? Sometimes in government agencies, it appears that it's my job, it's not your job. It's my sector, it's not your sector. It's my thing, it's not your thing. No. As a vet, there should always be collaboration at all times.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Dr. Giga.
More questions,
Wonderful.
please. More questions, please. More questions, please.
Do you have any question? We can just type it into the comment box. Any question? And I appreciate our online audience.
Can hear. Um, if you can hear me, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you
Okay,
hear
thank
me?
you very much, sir.
Okay, I
Thank you
hear
very
you.
much, sir, for the wonderful section we've had. It's really nice having you here to present about this topic. We do not take it for granted. Thank you very much. And to our online audience, thank you for participating in the edition of the Aspire program. Thank you very much. Okay, sir. Want to say something?
Yeah. I'd like to conclude by saying that the farmer is doing a very good job.
Okay, sir.
This is what we need. All the all the stakeholders in veterinary medicine should do this. There should be more programs to make the profession more interesting. Subsequent to your invite, I went on Facebook to follow Farmalat, and also I have subscribed to your YouTube page, and it has exposed me to much that you guys have been doing a lot of sensitizations. Very much, it is immense pleasure to be on this program. I appreciate the Farmalat management team for approving this program. I appreciate the coordinators in the background for the sounds and everything. And then, most importantly, Dr. Victor, for your passion and enthusiasm. It is what we need. What we need for this is what we need to move the profession forward. And I will do my best, my very best, to always make myself available for such kind of events, because this is my passion. This is what I want for the profession. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, Dr. Diga. Sir. on YouTube, on our Facebook page, on our LinkedIn. Thank you very much, sir. It's nice having you, and we look
Thank you.
forward to seeing another edition of the Aspire program. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
And you too, sir.